Watch this!
Okay, it's time to work the biceps again. We've already worked them twice. We've done horizontal pulling and vertical pulling. Now, any kind of pulling motion, anything that brings your hands towards your body, works the bicep muscle because it flexes the arm. And that's why you always want to work biceps on back day. Okay, unless you're separating back and biceps workouts by a few days, you really want to work those muscle groups together. If I worked back, if I did like pull downs and rows on one day and my biceps were done the next day, I'd overtrain biceps because you're using biceps 2 days in a row. So it's really important you follow the pulling routine in its entirety. You want to do everything all at once, then take a break, give enough time for all those muscle groups to recover. Now the biceps do 3 different functions. They bend the elbow, they flex the elbow, they flex the shoulder, they bring the elbow up like this, and then probably the most important movement is supination of the hand. Like when you flex your arm in the mirror, you flex your bicep, and you twist your hand like this, you can see the muscle change shape. You're actually contracting the bicep muscle belly. And that's why when you're doing chin-ups, underhand chin-ups versus overhand pull-ups, you can do a lot more chins. You can do a lot more repetitions, if any. You can do more in an underhand grip. So it just puts the bicep in a stronger position. Now, since you've already worked the biceps twice, this is almost an optional exercise. A lot of people come into the gym, they focus on biceps, they do a lot of bicep dumbbell curls and barbell curls and machine curls because you can see them in the mirror. You can flex them on the beach. But the thing is, they tend to be overtrained. You've already worked them a couple of times. This is more of a finishing move. You can work them very hard in just 1 or 2 sets, and that's probably all you need for them because they're getting so much indirect work. So I'm going to show you how to do bicep curls. A dumbbell bicep curl is probably the first exercise you should start with. You can also do machine curls. You can do a lot of different variations of dumbbell and barbell curls, like hammer curls and concentration curls. But the main first exercise to start with would probably be a dumbbell curl. And one reason for doing that, when you're doing a dumbbell curl, you're down in this bottom position, there's a little bit of release of tension at the bottom of the range of motion. Now, typically I don't say that's a very good idea. You want to have tension on the muscle through the full range of motion. But I found that if you start with machine curls, if you're down to the side like this and you have resistance through the full range of motion, especially in the fully extended position, you have a lot of stress and a lot of soreness typically in this little section of the elbow called the antecubital notch, right where the bicep muscle inserts on the lower arm. It's just a lot of tension. So I would suggest building up the biceps a little bit, doing some dumbbell curls, and then maybe progress to a machine curl or something more advanced. Now, because the biceps' main function is to supinate the hand, I like to do something that actually involves that supination process. I mean, I could hold onto a dumbbell and just supinate like this. I don't know if you've ever experienced this like using a screwdriver, but if you twist a screwdriver over and over and over and over, the old-fashioned way, you can feel the bicep contracting on each rotation. That's why I have those little screwdriver guns now. It makes it a lot easier. But to provide resistance for supination is one of the key methods for working biceps. So let me grab a couple of dumbbells here. Actually, let me show you with one first. One way of providing resistance for supination is to not have the dumbbell symmetrically placed in the middle of the hand. Like this is like a teeter-totter. It's even on both sides, so there's really no resistance. I'm getting resistance pushing down, and it's working the bicep from elbow flexion. I can feel it this way, but I'm getting nothing as far as supination goes. And to do that, all I have to do is slide my thumb flush to the top of the dumbbell. Now there's more weight from midline of my wrist. There's more weight from here over than there is from here to my thumb. So there's actually more weight on this side. It's pushing down a little harder, which provides a little resistance for supination. So if I just did this, it's probably a better bicep exercise than half the other things out there. Although it's only contracting the bicep isometrically as far as the elbow flexion goes. So a more ideal situation would be bring the weight up like this, flex the elbow and supinate at the same time. Just like so. Okay, so we have elbow flexion, we have supination. A lot of people tend to rest at the bottom of this position and they rest at the top of the position. Now to avoid doing this, I'll show you from a side view. What you want to do is kind of lean into it, lean forward while you're doing this so that instead of just being resting, the weight dropping straight down, the weight's dropping down against my elbow flexion. It's contracting the muscle to keep it up there. It makes it a lot tougher. So if all I did were, let me grab both dumbbells. If all I did with both hands, thumbs flush to the top of the dumbbells, if all I did was lean forward just a little bit, just enough to see my heels, to see my, at least the middle part of my feet, and brought it up like this and twist, there's a lot more tension in the top contracted position than there is if I were standing up straight. So it's supination on the way up, and then slowly back down. Now, whenever you bend forward at the hips, whenever you do any standing exercise, it's important to have the knees bent. Otherwise, if my legs were straight, my lower back would be taking the arch. And I've had enough lower back problems as is. So knees slightly bent, bending forward at the hips, looking down at the feet. You're gonna bring it up, supinate, maybe bring the elbows up just a little bit, and then slowly back down, bringing your palms together, parallel to each other at the bottom. And at the top position, you can see the bars in a straight line. Both dumbbell handles kind of go into a straight line. You don't want to be like this. You want to fully supinate. You don't want to over supinate. You don't want to go wide or narrow. Just keep everything lined up. You're basically going to look like a machine or a robot when you do this. Breathing out on the way up. Breathing normally on the way back down. Just like that. Now, a lot of people like to do these alternating like this. The problem is when you do this, right now my right arm's resting. Right now my left arm's resting. Once again, right arm's resting. And even like this, if you did them simultaneously, the concentric, the contraction bringing the weight up, and the eccentric, letting the weight back down, are the same time. Now remember, you want to bring it up at a 2 or 3 second count and down at a 4 or 5 second count, but if you do this simultaneously, both directions are going to be the same time interval. So it's really better just to use them both together at the same time, like this. Or if you really want to focus on one arm versus the other, do one arm at a time. Put down the weight, do the other arm. Okay, that wraps it up for biceps. Remember, if you don't have much time, you've already worked biceps during your rowing and your pull downs. So if you have a busy day and you can only do 1 or 2 exercises for pull, do a set of rows, do a set of pull downs, and you've hit back, biceps, and rear delts all in one shot, and the forearms. But if you do have the time to do all 7 exercises, go ahead and do a set of bicep curls. You can alternate it sometimes with machine curls or some of the other variations that we'll tell you at a future time. But that's it. On to reverse curls.